there are, because even in the Bible, there's like mistakes and then there are choices. Like there's certain things you can make a mistake on. This is like, I did not know and I made a wrong decision with the lack of knowledge that I had. Now that I know better, I would never do the same thing again and never will do the same thing again. That's maturity. Everybody can grow. Everybody can do that. But there's a difference between being like the neighborhood prostitute for 10 years.
Welcome back to Chocolate Espresso Podcast. I'm your host, Thomas Newair. Whatever float your fancy, I ain't too picky. Y'all got my main boy over here. Go ahead.
King Des, shout out. Welcome to Chocolate Espresso Podcast.
Y'all, this is going to be a little short video, but you know how we do.
Right.
You know how we do. It's
we just talk it. We just talk it.
That's right. I got a question, though. It's for the boys. As a man, how do you feel about being viewed in our current society right now?
Oh, there's so many. It's a rocky day.
Think about it. Look.
It's a rocky day.
With the elections coming right now, right? There's always this talk about masculinity, narcissism.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You know, all the buzzwords that kind of just get pushed on the men right now. Right. So I'm curious, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was already bad enough back in, what was it, 2012?
2012 was
Or 2020?
Wow. 20, no.
20, it was 20. What was the first year Trump came in? I think it was in 2020.
Oh yeah.
So it was wild enough back in 2020, and it's crazy now back in 2024 is with these conversations popping back up about masculinity and men. So I'm just curious, like, you ever been in a space and just felt some sort of way? Like, anybody ever dumped something on you like that? You know what I'm saying? Like,
man, all right, I'm gonna keep it real. Being a guy today is a very rock and a hard place position, and there's talk about how easy our lives are, and I'm like, bro, no. I had to sit down to my lady, and she asked me something, and it triggered me, not in an angry way, but like I went into detail, and she was like, oh, I apologize that I asked because I didn't know. But she was like, why are men scared to get married? And I was like, well, I got the answer for you. There's different levels and different phases. That's marriage, economy right now, politics, because women empowerment is now considered like a political movement rather than a personal opinion or a perception. So whenever things get into politics, the antithesis or what's considered the opposite has to be brought up in question too. So we've been getting brought up, like as Kamala Harris has been fighting for presidency. There's been conversation about what a man is being associated with Trump and how women are better associated with Kamala. And you know, the sexism thing is just so much. Being a man right now is something. You just got to tune it out and go to work. How it feels right now.
You know, it's in my opinion, it is extremely tough because you also have a lot of conversations about young men not going to college, right. Young men not keeping jobs, young men not being in relationships, overweight, having to look a certain way, dress a certain way, sound a certain way, be a certain type.
Of mental illness in men apparently has been going up.
Don't even get me started. If you a man of color, I hate the way color is. Listen, if you black, you got the different shades, the different hues of being black. So then that's also a stigma depending on the kind of lady that you interested in.
Like light skins, dark skins.
It's tough right now.
Everything is a competition.
It's a competition.
Everything is a competition.
You know, there's a logic behind this. There's a system, right? Yeah. It's an equation. If you factor in the whole idea of area, time, personality, and interest, what is the chances a person you're interested in is interested in you? Now, again, right? Is it the right time? You might be interested in her, but she already taken, or she ain't interested in a relationship.
Right.
Maybe it ain't the right location. Maybe you in Minnesota and she in Texas.
Long distance.
Maybe, you know, it's you. Maybe you ain't ready for this. Maybe you ain't quite, up to par what she's looking for.
That's right.
You know, the list goes on, right? And then you feel like crap because you put your foot out there and she ain't interested. So let me ask you another question, right? Because here's something I've also seen, and this is a little less because, again, when 2020 hit and Trump was running for the first time, there was a lot of conversations about catcalling and the narcissism and stuff like that. So I'm like, have you ever been somewhere and ever seen another guy catcall?
Actually, what I can say is I really haven't lately. I feel like I've seen catcalling way more when I was younger.
2000 is
2000, 2010
90s,
maybe.
you know. Okay.
2010, I would say I'd probably see pieces and bits of it. You know, the bus driver trying to holler at somebody, or the bus driver is a curvy black woman, and so the guy's getting on the bus trying to holler at her,
God.
but he ain't even got a car. Like, what are you doing? Like, and that's like 2012. But lately, like, I have not seen it at all. Like it's almost dead. Like, it's almost like guys were like, all right, you don't like it, fine, done.
You know what though? It's almost like that crap never really worked. I mean, to be fair, you know, but to also be fair though, I think maybe it's a locational based one, because you know, maybe somewhere in deep rooted South Alabama or Tennessee, you know, maybe you might still have some catcalling, but again, there are also ladies out there that love that.
Right.
They go for that. Like that's how you get their attention. It's far in between. I believe that to be the truth. It's extremely far in between, but I do think it might be more regional based, town based type of situation.
A behavior, a culture based behavior. Yeah. And actually I got to say, on top of that, I don't know if you've seen the uptick in TikTok trends. But I believe it was late last year or early this year. I can't remember exactly when, but there was a wave of the women talking about, men are scared now to talk to us.
Oh my God.
And like, y'all don't catcall no more.
They ain't wrong.
But they couldn't say catcall. They were like, you don't shout us out. They were like trying to manipulate it to not admit that what they wanted was what they told you to stop doing.
Man, you know what though? I got my reservations on that, but I'll be blunt when I say people don't know how to politely decline. You know, but that's another conversation about also not having, fathers in lives, right. And it's a two for one. Women are choosing the wrong men, and fathers aren't in the lives of their children regardless. Just because you have fun with somebody and a child came out of it and you ain't serious with this person doesn't mean you still can't take responsibility for your child. Right. And as a man, you should also educate your children in knowing how to tell them, like, hey, if this boy ain't interested in you, you can politely decline. And then of course the conversation is going to shift, because that's just how people want to. Well, you can politely decline, and he gonna still want to try to hit you. And okay, well, you found one a-hole, and I can find a couple of thousand men that will never. They'll be like, okay, if you politely said, hey, you know what, I'm flattered. I'm really not interested in the moment, or I'm interested in this other person. That wasn't a good time. Thousands of men would be like, oh, okay, but I can respect that.
And I had to explain that to my lovely lady, my beautiful wife. I was like, men are simple. Men are not complex at all. We do what works. If women got all together and was like, we want nice men, and you literally shut it down for any rude, negative, toxic men.
Well, you asking for too much.
We just want kind men who want to wife us up, and we want to be wives. Men would do it because they're like, all right, we're just not getting the results that we want from doing this. Men are very straightforward in that aspect, where it's just like, we do what gets us what we want. If I have to work a job to play video games, I'm going to work a job so I can pay for me to play video games. If I need to eat, I'm going to work a job so I can eat. Like, if men could farm on their own and steal a plot of land, they'll do it. And then we have farmers till this day that would do it. So it's just like, we're not hard at all.
You know what? Who devalued women more? Was it men or women? And of course, your first thought would be, oh, it's the opposite gender. But she's like, no. The moment we started giving away everything was the moment we screwed ourselves. Was the moment we messed up. Because now, what man is going to jump through hoops to be with you when they can do little to nothing and maybe just step over a little small doggy fence to go be with her?
Right. Especially when that's been normalized as okay.
More and
I don't
more.
know if you're going to get into it, but you kind of asked me earlier before we started the podcast if there's such thing as pretty man privilege.
Oh.
And that's when you got to get into that conversation where a woman will put up walls for guys. Dude's not even ugly. He's got his stuff together. He's a well-rounded dude, but just because they can, they'll try to make him jump through hoops or do tricks for him in some type of way. And then for a guy that is just spontaneous and impulsive, then it's like, okay, well, I'll just I was asking like a floozy this weekend and let this happen, and then it's like, well, no, you can't. To get to the same finish line, you gave somebody else a pass, that you didn't hold to as a standard. It's not a standard for you. It's just you're making me do tricks because you're bored. Like that's how it's going to be perceived.
So let me ask you another question, right? You got Kevin Samuels, Fresh and Fit. What's another one?
Brother Umar.
Dr. Umar. You got all these individuals who I don't care what anyone else says. They're all one and the same in one sense of the word, right? Mm-hmm. They might have difference in opinions or different podcasts, but let's be real. They're all one and the same because they're all trying to direct men or exploit a certain niche market online to, get attention. But to be fair, everybody has some form of truth in their conversation, right? Do you feel like when people say like, okay, women today are more likely to be ran through, and then when they're done being fun and having all they want because they were taught and told, okay, wait until you're 30 to have a kid and get married. And now they want the clean man. They want to get married because they had all that stuff. Do you feel like that's true?
I actually do. And I feel like it's true, not as into, I think that narrative has been used to like paint women as bad. And we both sides have the thing, right? But it's true on a actual action-based formula right now. Because looking at my peers, because we are now those adults, right? Mm-hmm. We are now those adults. And we all got that same advice. I was told, don't get married. And I was talking about getting married in high school, and all my friends was looking at me like I was crazy, right? And they were like, no, have your fun, whatever. And then I had somebody there to tell me, like, that's horrible advice. Have what fun? STDs, children? Like, you know what I'm saying? Soul ties to a person who's going to mistreat you and abuse you, and you develop that habit, you know what I'm saying? You become emotionally strung out. People don't talk about the unhealthy relationships and how much that leaves an impact on you for a while. People really do have to heal after relationships. So they will run out here, and the problem with that dynamic came from when we made women empowerment synonymous and equal to over-sexualizing women. Like, women over-sexualizing themselves is a form of women empowerment, and has been the highly advertised one because sex sells in America in society. So it literally it fed a negative loop immediately. Women empowerment is itself a healthy statement. You should empower yourself to be the best woman you can. Yes, every female should do that. However, when over-sexualizing women and little girls, because it starts there, teenagers and preteens, and starts there, over-sexualizing little girls as a form of women empowerment or self-identity or accepting womanhood, which makes them easier targets for pedophiles and people trying to come in and be a real man to them, and the perception that women date older. So then you have these younger girls trying to be women, trying to date older dudes. That's literally a playground for pedophilia, and then all of that happens. They get preyed on, they get damaged. They have this fun that they also think is normal. They think it's okay because it's being supported by other women and their ideologies as well. Realize like, oh crap, that was all crap. I'm screwed up now. I'm mentally loose. We're not even talking about the physical body. Like, you mentally do not have a barricade. There are a lot of women that believe like they could just spontaneously have hookups and think that won't affect them on an emotional level or psychological level. Financially have these guys living off of them. You're making bad financial decisions, physical decisions, mental decisions. And then when it all falls apart because it was never on a good foundation anyway, you're looking for what you lack. You're looking for the whole man that has a good foundation. You're looking for the answer to your questions.
Do you feel like you can make mistakes, move forward, and that somebody should just pick you up afterwards? Like, your past is your past. You can heal from it. And they got receipts. Like, maybe they sat in somebody's chair. Maybe they went on a year-long journey and worked on themselves. And,
right?
Maybe they really put in the effort,
Here's
should
the
that
thing
matter?
with that, and I know a lot of people going to disagree with me because I'm like, a non-denominational Christian, and I know they're like, there's always forgiveness. Hold up. there are, because even in the Bible, there's like mistakes, and then there are choices. Like, there's certain things you you can make a mistake on. This is like, I did not know, and I made a wrong decision with the lack of knowledge that I had. Now that I know better, I would never do the same thing again and never will do the same thing again. That's maturity. Everybody can grow, everybody can do that. But there's a difference between being like the neighborhood prostitute for 10 years. No protection. You've actually gotten some STDs, but since they were all curable, you giving yourself a pass to keep doing this wrong.
Oh my God.
You have kids out here both in the system or being raised by you, but you're not really being the best example. You have horrible examples for males choices that you had these kids with. So you have bad dads too, even if you're trying to get your stuff together. And then you want to come and tell me that I should treat you the exact same as a female who had the discipline and the decision to not do that and like take their time and really think about the consequences of their actions.
Everybody deserves a second chance.
That's not the even if you want to argue that, that's not the same person.
Okay, hold on.
Because if a guy did that, if we're being honest, you would not slide.
Yes, they do. Listen, I'm not trying to play advocate, or I'm only asking, as conversation. But let's just say though, like a guy does get to 23. That's not going to stop him from being able to marry and have children and move on. Like that won't. It might stop a lot of ladies though. There's a double standard there.
I would say, because like, there's a lot of women.
Standard.
There are a lot of women that I've talked to. Like, if you tell me you got 5 or more, and it's automatically like, ooh.
I know, but you can easily lie though. Like, who's going to be like, who's really going to be honest about their number in this current society again with these kind of conversations?
I feel like
keeps falling down.
I feel like it depends on the type of person you're dealing with.
Absolutely,
because there's people like me, me and my lady had an honest conversation, and she was like, if you were in a certain situation or this situation, I wouldn't have been able to talk to you. Like, she literally made it clear, like, I wouldn't have talked to you. I think you're a great guy. I don't think you have a bad, like, you don't even spiritually struggle. You don't have an off spirit or anything, but if you had like a kid, or you know what I'm saying? If you had like, just other things going on that some of these dudes that have approached her have had going on, like, no, I would have had to cut you off at the jump
right off the start.
Right.
There's double standards.
But I think the double standards comes from people not being healthy.
Yeah.
People dating in today's pool, rather than deal with their demons, they will always jump in.
What part of there's piss and crap in the dating pool? There's piss and crap in the water. It's water, but it's muddy.
Right. No, like, yeah. No,
Come
people
on.
don't. And even, I won't even say, I think it's worse because the people that you might want also have these bad habits. They have these bad traits.
They were a part of the same pool as you.
They're part of the same pool.
We all swimming in it.
Right. So like, they have these unhealthy environments because now they're losing their patience because when me and my lady talked, she's kind of admitted to me that women know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're not dumb.
Everybody knows.
Women are not stupid. They know that they have a waste of a time on their hands. They know they're dealing with a liar. They know. They know, but they would rather do that than be alone.
Yeah. There's a lot of men
would rather do that, and men too.
Like, you don't get to 23 and be okay with yourself and being alone. You get to 23 because you always chasing something. You chasing energy. Like.
But I feel like that's the decision though. It takes the discipline and the healthiness to say no. Because I didn't meet my girl until, like, I literally kept on praying, asking God for a wife, right? And then God was like, "You're still not ready. You got 5% left to go." This was last year, and He was like, the 5% is not going to be the longest, maybe, but it will be your hardest because this is the things that you've been refusing to do on your own. And that was just me having a prayer life, right? Come to find out, by the time my lady came, 5 females I had to cut off. It came down to 5 women, conveniently, and a lesson with each one. So I had to relearn what a woman was and how they're their own being and they need to be respected. Is that I learned what I am as a man. I had to respect that, a healthy bond and relationship so we can cultivate these kids properly. We can be an example properly and we can build properly. Like 5 things I learned, 5 people got cut off. And I think it's just people don't have, I don't know if it's they're scared, loneliness, or horniness, or all 3. But people refuse to just sit there. Because if you have somebody in the spot, you can't get a husband or wife. If somebody else is playing your girlfriend, I mean, well, unfortunately, people still be trying to smash and talk to people while they in relationships anyway. But like, people just don't have the discipline to say no to the wrong people so they can say yes to the right people.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem we have in the dating pool.
But we at the point now too. We got. I feel like, and we'll wrap this part up for this video. I think we're at the point in our society now where all eyes are on men in so many ways. Like, we've been picked through, pointed at. Again, you know, cable TV caters mainly to women. There's a lot of content dedicated for them because they're the ones really. They really are the ones soaking up all this stuff, and it's by design. I mean, by God's design too. I mean, they just are more social and stuff like that. Like, it's the trope about how men could be at a garage drinking beer and talking about almost nothing and genuinely having a good time.
Yeah, no,
and that's not the same for the opposite. You know, like they need to be entertained, and that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, again, that led to us being picked apart, you know, and stereotypes being exploited. And now you have this market that's essentially exploiting it and pointing the finger right back at them. And it leads to conversations again where it's like, oh, well, men are narcissistic because they're not doing this, or you know, we gotta figure out why men aren't willing to date, you know, be more marriageable. You got piss in the water, everybody just wants everything for free. You can't judge me for doing this and that. And it's like I
because it's just hard, because it's one thing to, because like you said before, the whole forgiving you about your past part, it's one thing to have a past. It's another thing for it to affect your present, right? I don't think most women are upset with the fact that, like, before you met me, you were going after very attractive women. They're attractive. And plus, women know that women be seeking attention from men. And if they are pretty and they be dressing skimpy, they know, like, they have their friends with the girl that they don't like. Like, there's a lot of women that every hoe they're talking about, they have a friend that meets certain points on the list. Like, they know it. But the thing is, when they go and they're like, okay, I'm choosing you, and then you got to tell them, like, but I'm poly, but I got multiple kids, but I've been diagnosed with this. But you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's when I think women a good woman would actually have a problem. Because it's one thing to have a past. It's another thing for that to, now that has to stop my future with you or hinder what we got planned because you didn't handle your stuff, right? And the same thing for guys. Now that guys like me, who I'm over here pushing 30, I'm now able to be with my woman. I can literally tell her, like, I don't have no kids. I don't have no STDs. I can communicate healthily. I can keep a job. I'm niching up. I'm always excelling. So I'm always exceeding. I'm always leaving my job to go to the next best thing to get a bigger pay and more profitable and build my skill set. I'm always got my own things going, my own entrepreneurial drive, whatever, what have you. And so I have the right to be picky, and I can actually do that. And then now guys like me are like, oh, well, if I can do it, I know you could do it. So why do you have 4 kids? Why do you have lack of healthy communication? Like,
but you can't judge them. That's the new conversation. Like, that's the new society. Right? You can't judge them.
But see,
how dare you judge them?
But
we can judge you. Crazy. But how dare you judge us?
Right?
Like, come on.
But like, I did all this because as I was growing up as a kid, y'all told me that was y'all very clearly told me these guys are trash for this, that, the other. Did you see the list on Facebook about, like, where you can't go to eat? Like, they said you can't go to Cheesecake Factory, Buffalo Wild Wings, TGI Fridays. I'm like, cool, that's like 70 to 80% of the franchises, but I'm not about to take y'all to Bora Bora. Like, I'm not about to take all y'all to Fogo de Chao.
Listen, there's a saying, and I'll leave it here. Not everybody deserves what they want.
That's true.
That's just really what the reality is. You can want everything else in the third.
Everybody wants $10 million. Don't mean they deserve it.
But everybody does deserve basic respect, no matter how trashy of a person they are. Sure,
that's true.
But it don't mean you can come to me if I'm a millionaire and think you deserve my $1 million. Like, no. Like,
my biggest rule is, like I said before, like, whatever's your past is your past. But if it makes it into your present, then I have a right to put an opinion on it. Because now I have to live in it.
Now I'm dealing with it.
That affects me. Yeah. That affects me now. And I get to choose what affects me or what doesn't. So I have to now make that conscious decision. Because then if I accept you, while I'm in the relationship, you ain't gonna want me to bring it up. You ain't gonna want me to talk about how I don't like this and like that. You gonna argue, right?
Yeah, you know what though? Hey, more on that on the next episode. Thanks for showing out. We gonna end it here.
Deuces, we out.